Hey everyone, welcome to another $1,000 strap search. I've got my $1,000 in singles here and I'm about to show you what I found. But before I do, let's talk about this week's tip. Now, a lot of people are really interested in collecting error notes. And let me first start off by saying, just because you see something on a note that doesn't look exactly right does not mean it's an error, or at least it does not mean it's a valuable error. When the BEP prints notes, they have what's the best way to put it? A tolerance level for certain things. And if a note does not exceed that tolerance, the BEP does not remove that note. If the BEP doesn't pull the note, they don't consider it an error, which means every time that whatever minor instance happens, it goes through, and there are a bunch of them out there. A gas pump, for instance. If they see a note where the serial number is just slightly raised, they're not going to pull that. What they're going to do is they're going to take a screwdriver and tighten down the wheel that has all those numbers on it. But they're not going to remove all of those notes from circulation. At some point, they have to put notes out. So when there is an error and the BEP does pull it, there's a couple things to consider. First and foremost, they designated it an error. And since it was removed from circulation, that means very, very few of them are left in circulation. That rarity is what drives the value. If you can find a note in every strap, that's not rare. So, if you want to know if what you have or what you have found is an actual error that has value, what you should do is go on eBay and search for graded errors. And that way you will see if the grading company attributes what you're talking about. Now, if you find something and the grading company does not attribute that as a legitimate error, then there are two cases. One, you have a one-of-a-kind discovery error. Or two, it's not an error. It's just sloppy printing. So that's my suggestion. When you discover some type of error and want to call it an error, go on eBay and search graded errors and see if the grading companies agree with your assessment. All right, let's get these out of the way and take a look at what I found this week. Major error. No, not at all. People are going to tell you that's an ink smear, and I'm going to agree that is an ink smear, but the ink has nothing to do with anything that's on the bill. This is simply probably a wet ink transfer of some type from maybe a newspaper or something to that effect. They don't use these colors when they're making a note, so no, that is not. What about the back? Yeah, front and back, there's stuff like that. That's just not an error. That's an easy one. So if someone was to try to convince you of that, well, now you know better. Found a Where's George. I see that one a lot. I don't even know if I'll be able to log it anymore. And it's kind of sticky. That's kind of icky. Found another Where's George here. Also on a sticky note. And what do we got here? This is a relatively high number. Remember, they only print notes to 96 million. This is 95,992,000. You really want to see one more 9 there. You want 95999 to be considered a valuable high number. This is just simply one of the highest numbers I found in circulation, so I pulled it. Got my trinaries. You know trinaries aren't worth anything. You know I save trinaries trying to match the numbers. That's it. You also know that when someone wants to convince me that trinaries are worth money, I tell them put your money where your mouth is. And if you want to buy a bunch of my trinaries for half of the value, well, let's work something out, because I don't believe they're worth anything. I would never tell anybody to buy anything. But once again, if you want to convince people that they are worth something, prove it by buying it. So this one is 3s, 5s, and 7s, 0s, 5s, and 8s, 0s, 3s, and 5s, 0s, 1s, and 2s, 0s, 1s, and 8s. All right, and then we get to quads. Now, before we go on to the quads, you just saw all the trinaries I found going through 10 straps. That's not rare. Once again, if you can find that many of them, how can you convince anybody that there's value in them? Now we're moving on to quads. I also save quads for the same reason, trying to pair numbers. That's it. They aren't worth anything, and these are actually rarer than trinaries. And you'll know that by watching my videos, because you can see all the trinaries I found. Here's quad 3s, quad 4s, quad 7s. That's it. But I still find quads every single week. Not rare. Moving on, 2017 stars. Check your stars to see if they are filled in. And this one actually has a very minor overprint here. You can see the green dots. So what? That does not add value. The BEP is never going to pull a note like that. So that means every time that happens, it's going to get out in circulation. So no, it's not worth anything. Another 2017 A star note here, 2013 star, 2013 star, 2001 star. That's an oldie. And we get to the older notes in general. I pull all notes that are 20 years or older, just because nobody else does. I will save the better ones, but this is how many I find. 2003A, 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 another 2003A, another one. So you can see I'm only going to keep this one. I might keep because that one's still in good shape. 2003A, kind of rough. 2003, 2001, harder to find than you'd think. 1999, another 99, 1995, and the oldest note I found was also a 1995. So what did I pull out this week? Well, since we're talking about errors, I pulled out an error that will probably be sold already. This is in my auction that is my Christmas auction. I pulled this $5 note. You can see this is from 1977. 1977 small head $5 bill. And before I talk about the front, I want to talk about the back, because the back is perfectly fine. It does have a crease. You can see the crease, but if we zoom in on the crease, I want you to pay close attention to the ink. Look at how dark the ink is under the D, like it's supposed to be. And when you look at the crease, nothing wrong. This part here is dark, but that's just dirt. The crease goes right through the darkest portion here. Once again, not a problem at all with the inking. Going through the top, once again, it's just a crease. But this is what I can tell you about that crease. When this printing was done, this is known as the first printing, the back is the first printing. When this was done, there was no problem at all with the paper. There was no problem at all with the inking process. Everything on the back of this note is properly inked. That tells me that when the paper went in, it was fine. Then we look at the front, and along that same crease, now we have a line of unprinted note. And if I zoom in as close as I can without it blurring, you can see that. What happened here was, after the back was done, they flipped the sheets over and they printed the front. And at this point, a crease formed in the paper. So when they went to print that second printing, this part here, since it was creased, you get a gutter where there was no ink printed. That's known as a gutter fold error. Now that's supposed to be pulled. This is a genuine error. Now once again, we know the case of this because it's clearly has the gutter of non-printed ink on the front, and the back is perfectly fine. So the reason for that, once again, the crease formed, then they printed the note, and then the note was flattened out, causing that crease. So with a gutter fold error, once again, genuine error, we can double check this by looking in the book, United States Paper Money Errors, okay? And they talk about gutter folds, gutter or interior folds. And they list a bunch of examples on $5 notes, different types of fives. And here's one that almost exactly resembles what I have. Now this one says multiple folds because there's one line here and one line here. And it says in an EF40 it's $75, about uncirculated it's 100. Choice uncirculated is 125 and gem is 150. And you're going to see those prices here. This has got a single gutter fold here, and this is a silver certificate. The paper is actually a little bit bigger now. Here's one for the back. And once again, you're talking the 75 to 150 range based on condition on these notes. Here's another one. Interior fold major. You can see how the seal, this happened on the third print there. But anyway, that's an example of an error you may be able to find. I have never found one of these, but these are some of the more common errors that will escape. And once again, if I was to send this in for grading, it would come back with a gutter fold error at listing right on the grading case. So that's how you'll know if it's genuine. You can go on eBay and look for graded notes like this, and you will see the designation from the grading companies. All right, that's what I've got for you guys this week. If you learned anything new, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see and you want to see more, please subscribe. Love reading all your comments. Guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.